Single dad Ryan got fired for bringing his sick daughter to work, holding sleeping 3-year-old Mia as his boss screamed at him. But Sarah Harrison, the boss's sister, was watching. She saw a devoted father sacrifice everything for his child, and knew she'd found something more valuable than money. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Ryan Carter shifted his 3-year-old daughter Mia gently in his arms as he approached the construction site office. She had fallen asleep during the car ride, her tiny fist clutched around his work shirt, and he didn't have the heart to wake her. The babysitter had called in sick that morning, leaving Ryan with no choice but to bring Mia to work with him. It wasn't the first time he'd had to do this. Being a single father meant making impossible choices every day, and today was just another example. His boss, Mr. Harrison, had been increasingly impatient with Ryan's family obligations, but Ryan had hoped that his hard work and dedication would speak for itself. He was wrong. Carter. Mr. Harrison's voice boomed across the construction site as Ryan carefully climbed the steps to the trailer office, trying not to jostle Mia awake. Ryan turned to see his boss storming toward him, his face red with anger. Behind Harrison, Ryan noticed a woman in business attire talking to the site supervisor. She looked out of place among the hard hats and steel-toed boots, but something about her seemed familiar. "Sir, I can explain," Ryan began, but Harrison cut him off. "Explain what? That you're using this construction site as a daycare center? That you think it's appropriate to bring a child to a dangerous work environment?" Mia stirred in Ryan's arms, her eyelashes fluttering as the raised voices began to wake her. Ryan instinctively began rocking her gently, trying to keep her asleep. "Mr. Harrison, my babysitter is sick, and I couldn't find anyone else on such short notice. I was going to keep her in the office." "I don't want to hear your excuses, Carter. This is the 3rd time this month you've brought personal problems to my job site. You're fired. Get your things and get out." The words hit Ryan like a physical blow. This job was everything to him. It paid well enough for him to afford their small apartment and Mia's daycare. Without it, they would be homeless within a month. "Please, Mr. Harrison. I need this job. Mia needs this job. I'll figure something out with childcare, I promise. I'm a good worker, you know I am." "You're a liability, Carter. Pack up and leave. Now." Mia woke up fully at the harsh tone, looking around with confused, sleepy eyes. "Daddy? Where are we?" "It's okay, baby," Ryan whispered, his voice breaking slightly. "We're just visiting Daddy's work." The woman in business attire had stopped her conversation and was now watching the scene unfold with growing concern. As Harrison turned to walk away, dismissing Ryan with a wave of his hand, she stepped forward. "Excuse me," she said, her voice calm but firm. "I couldn't help but overhear. Are you really firing this man for bringing his child to work once?" Harrison spun around, clearly annoyed. "This doesn't concern you, Ms. Harrison. This is my business." "Ms. Harrison." Ryan's eyes widened as he realized who she was. This was Sarah Harrison, the boss's sister. He'd heard the other workers mention her. Apparently she was some kind of successful businesswoman who occasionally visited the site to check on her brother's operations. "Actually, it does concern me," Sarah said, stepping closer. "I'm a partial investor in this company, which means I have a say in personnel decisions. Especially ones that seem unreasonable." Ryan watched this exchange with a mixture of hope and disbelief. Mia had buried her face in his neck, sensing the tension in the air. "The man is unreliable," Harrison argued. "He brings his kid to work, he's always dealing with some family crisis. He brought his child to work because he had no other option and still showed up to do his job," Sarah interrupted. "That sounds like dedication to me, not unreliability." She turned to Ryan, her expression softening. "What's your name?" "Ryan Carter, ma'am. And this is my daughter, Mia?" Sarah smiled at Mia, who peeked out from Ryan's shoulder with curious eyes. "Hi, Mia. I'm Sarah." "You're very beautiful." Mia smiled shyly and waved a small hand. "Ryan, how long have you been working here?" Sarah asked. 2 years, ma'am. I've never missed a day except when Mia was sick, and I always make up the time." Sarah nodded, then looked back at her brother. "Tom, this man has been a loyal employee for 2 years. Instead of firing him for having a family emergency, maybe we should be asking ourselves why our employees feel they have no other options when childcare falls through." Harrison's face was getting redder by the minute. "Sarah, you don't understand how construction sites work." "I understand how businesses work," Sarah said firmly. "And I understand that good employees are hard to find." "Ryan, you're not fired. In fact, I'd like to speak with you privately if that's okay." Ryan felt his knees go weak with relief. "Yes, ma'am. Of course. Sarah led Ryan and Mia to a quiet corner of the site, away from Harrison's glowering presence. She gestured for Ryan to sit on a stack of lumber while she pulled up a folding chair. "Tell me about your situation," she said gently. "And please call me Sarah." Ryan took a deep breath, still hardly believing this was happening. Mia's mother left when she was 6 months old. Said she wasn't ready to be a parent. It's been just us ever since. I work construction because it pays well enough to support us, but the hours are long and childcare is expensive. When my babysitter gets sick or cancels last minute. You have no backup plan, Sarah finished. I've been trying to save money to put Mia in a more reliable daycare program, but it's expensive and there are waiting lists. Ryan's voice trailed off. He was embarrassed to be explaining his financial struggles to this successful woman. Mia had perked up during the conversation and was now looking around at all the construction equipment with fascination. "Daddy, look at the big truck." "That's a crane, sweetheart," Ryan said softly. Sarah watched the interaction between father and daughter with something that looked like longing in her eyes. "Ryan, can I ask you something personal?" "Sure. Do you love what you do? Construction work, I mean." Ryan considered this. "I'm good at it and it pays the bills. But honestly, I used to want to be a teacher. I have a degree in elementary education, but the pay was too low to support Mia on my own." "A teacher," Sarah repeated thoughtfully. "That makes sense. I can see how patient and gentle you are with Mia." They talked for another 20 minutes, with Sarah asking about Ryan's background, his goals, and his challenges as a single father. Mia gradually warmed up to Sarah, showing her the small stuffed bunny she carried everywhere and explaining in great detail about her favorite cartoons. Finally, Sarah stood up. "Ryan, I have a proposition for you." "What kind of proposition?" "I run a non-profit organization that provides educational programs for underprivileged children. We're opening a new learning center across town, and I need someone to help develop and run our after-school programs. Someone with an education background who understands what it's like to be a working parent." Ryan stared at her. "Are you offering me a job?" "I'm offering you a career. The pay is comparable to what you make here but with better benefits and much better hours. Plus, there's an on-site childcare program for employees' children." I don't know what to say." "Say you'll think about it." Sarah pulled a business card from her purse. "This has my direct number on it. Call me tomorrow if you're interested and we can set up a proper interview." Ryan took the card with shaking hands. "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." Sarah looked at Mia, who was now sitting on Ryan's lap playing with the buttons on his work shirt. "Because I watched a father choose his child's comfort over his own job security. Because I saw a man who works construction but dreams of teaching children. And because..." She paused, her voice growing softer. "Because I've spent my whole life building businesses and making money, but I've never had what you have." "What do I have?" Ryan asked, genuinely puzzled. "Love. Pure, unconditional love. The kind that makes you show up to a dangerous job site with a 3-year-old rather than leave her with someone unreliable. The kind that makes you sacrifice your dreams so she can have a stable life." Ryan felt tears prick his eyes. "She's everything to me. I can see that. And that's exactly the kind of person I want working with children." Over the next few days, Ryan couldn't stop thinking about Sarah's offer. He did some research on her organization, Harrison Learning Foundation, and was impressed by what he found. They had programs all over the state, focusing on providing educational opportunities for children from low-income families. When he called Sarah the next day, she invited him to visit the new learning center. Ryan arranged for Mrs. Peterson, his elderly neighbor, to watch Mia for a few hours and drove across town to see the facility. It was beautiful. Bright, colorful classrooms filled with books and educational toys. A playground designed for different age groups. Art studios and computer labs. And yes, a well-equipped childcare center for staff children. "What do you think?" Sarah asked as they toured the facility. "It's incredible," Ryan said honestly. "The kids who come here are going to love it." "I hope so. We're planning to serve about 200 children in our after-school and summer programs. But we need the right people to make it work." They sat down in Sarah's temporary office to discuss the position in detail. The job would involve developing curriculum, supervising other staff members, and working directly with children aged 5 to 12. The salary was exactly what Sarah had promised, and the benefits package was better than anything Ryan had ever had. "There's just one thing," Sarah said as they wrapped up the interview. "I want to be completely transparent with you. Part of my interest in hiring you comes from what I witnessed at the construction site. You're clearly a devoted father, and that's important to me. But I also want you to know that this job offer isn't charity. We need someone with your skills and background. I appreciate your honesty, Ryan said. Can I ask you something? Of course. Why do you do this? The foundation work, I mean. You could probably make a lot more money in other ventures. Sarah was quiet for a moment, looking out the window at the playground where workers were putting finishing touches on the equipment. I grew up with money, she said finally. My parents were successful, but they were also busy. Very busy. I spent most of my childhood with nannies and in boarding schools. I had every material advantage you could imagine, but I would have traded it all for a parent who put me first the way you put Mia first. Ryan understood now why Sarah had been so affected by seeing him with Mia. I started the foundation because I wanted to create the kind of place I wish I'd had as a child. Somewhere children feel valued and supported, regardless of their family's income level. That's beautiful, Ryan said. So, are you interested in the position? Ryan thought about Mia, about the stability this job could provide, about the chance to pursue work that actually meant something to him. Yes, he said firmly. I'm very interested. 3 weeks later, Ryan started his new job at the Harrison Learning Foundation. Mia loved the childcare center, making friends quickly and participating in age-appropriate learning activities while Ryan worked. The transition wasn't without challenges. Ryan had to learn new systems and adjust to working in an office environment rather than outdoors. But Sarah was patient and supportive, and the other staff members welcomed him warmly. Most importantly, Ryan discovered that he had a natural talent for working with school-age children. His combination of patience, creativity, and real-world experience made him excellent at connecting with kids who were struggling academically or socially. 6 months into the job, Sarah stopped by Ryan's classroom during an after-school session. She watched as he helped a group of 8-year-olds with their homework, explaining math concepts in ways that made the children laugh and engaged. Mr. Ryan, one of the students called out, "Can you help me with this word problem?" Of course, Marcus. Let's read it together and see if we can figure out what it's asking. Sarah smiled as she watched Ryan work. He had found his calling, and it showed in everything he did. After the children left, Sarah knocked on the open classroom door. "How are things going?" she asked. "Really well," Ryan said, cleaning up art supplies from the day's activities. "I never imagined I could be this happy at work." "And Mia? How is she adjusting?" "She loves it here. She talks about her school friends every night at dinner. This morning she told me she wants to be a teacher when she grows up, just like Daddy." Sarah felt her heart warm at the thought. "Ryan, I wanted to talk to you about something. We're expanding the program next year, and I'd like you to consider taking on a leadership role. It would mean more responsibility, but also more money and the chance to help shape the direction of our educational programs." Ryan looked surprised. "Really? You think I'm ready for that?" "I think you were ready the day you chose your daughter's well-being over keeping a job you hated. Leadership isn't about having all the answers, it's about caring enough to keep looking for better solutions." A year later, Ryan was the program director for 3 learning centers across the city. He had moved Mia into a larger apartment with a backyard where she could play, and for the first time since becoming a single father, he felt like he was truly thriving rather than just surviving. Sarah had become more than just his boss, she had become a close friend and mentor. She regularly joined Ryan and Mia for dinner, helping with bedtime stories and teaching Mia about business and goal setting in age-appropriate ways. One evening, as Sarah was helping Mia with a puzzle while Ryan cooked dinner, Mia looked up at her with serious eyes. "Sarah, are you going to marry my daddy?" Both adults froze. Ryan nearly dropped the pot he was stirring, and Sarah felt her cheeks flush. "Why would you ask that, sweetheart?" Sarah asked gently. "Because you make Daddy smile the way the prince makes the princess smile in my movies. And you're really nice to me. And Daddy is happier when you're here." Ryan turned around slowly, meeting Sarah's eyes across the room. They had grown close over the past year, but had carefully maintained professional boundaries. Now, with Mia's innocent observation hanging in the air, they both realized those boundaries had been blurring for months. "Mia," Ryan said softly, "Sarah and Daddy are very good friends. But you could be more than friends," Mia said with the logic only a 4-year-old could possess. "Mrs. Peterson says that's how her and Mr. Peterson started too." Sarah laughed, breaking the tension in the room. "Mrs. Peterson sounds very wise." That night, after Mia was asleep, Ryan and Sarah sat on his small balcony talking honestly about their feelings for the first time. "I don't want to complicate things," Sarah said. "You and Mia have been through so much, and your job is important to you." "Sarah," Ryan said, taking her hand, "you saved us. Not just with the job but with everything. You gave me back my sense of purpose and showed Mia what it looks like when someone chooses to care about others. You saved me too, Sarah replied. You taught me what family really means. They were married 18 months later in the garden of the learning center where they first worked together. Mia was the flower girl, scattering petals with the same joy she brought to everything in her life. As they exchanged vows, Ryan thought back to that terrible day when he thought his world was ending. Getting fired while holding his sleeping daughter had felt like the ultimate failure. Instead, it had been the beginning of everything beautiful in his life. Sarah had taught him that sometimes the worst moments create space for the best possibilities. And Mia had taught them both that the strongest families are built not on shared blood, but on shared love and the choice to show up for each other every single day. In the end, the job loss that had seemed like a disaster became the greatest gift of their lives. The moment when three people who needed each other finally found their way home.